Becoming the person you want to be is not only a self-discovering journey, but also a strategic move to improve all areas of your life. Hello and welcome, or welcome back to the Money, Wine and Cheese Club. If you're new here, my name is Sarah, and on this channel I talk about all things money and budgeting, and also about how to create that best life that you want to live. Yes, through organizing your money and your life. I'm so glad that you are here. If you like this type of content, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so that this content will be put in front of a lot more people. Thank you. Let's get started. So I've talked before about how it's easier to stay on your financial journey, budget, pay off debt, when you are aligned with values between your life and your money. Now, how exactly are we supposed to do that? So today we're going to break that down. Again, becoming the person you aspire to be is not only a journey of self-discovery, but it's really a strategic move that is going to positively impact your whole life through all areas of your life. By aligning your actions with your mindset, with your values, with your habits, and what you aspire to have in the future, who you want to become, it's going to transform your whole life. Let's step into that future you and see how it will impact your financial life. First, you have to define your future self. Reflect on who you want to become. Who do you want to be? Consider your values, goals, lifestyle, career aspirations, and financial situation. And really write a detailed description of your future self. Be specific about your daily habits, professional achievements, financial status, and everything else you can think of. For example, imagine your future self is someone who is financially independent, runs a successful business, maintains a healthy work-life balance, and is involved in community service. What would that entail? Is what you are doing right now aligned with that future you want for yourself? And that's where the next step that I'm going to tell you is going to help you out. So the next thing you need to do is identify that gap. Now is when you're going to compare what you're doing right now, who you are right now, to the person that you aspire to be, to the person you want to be tomorrow. Be very honest with yourself. See what kind of habits you have today. See what you're doing. And if that is aligned with the person that you want to be tomorrow, who you want to become. Once you look at all those areas, see how much of a gap is there. What can you do to bring those two areas together? Like build a bridge from where you're at right now to become the person you want to be tomorrow. What does that look like? What do you have to do? Do you have to go to bed earlier? Do you have to go to bed later? Do you have to get up earlier? Do you have to exercise more? Do you have to work more? Do you have to change your lifestyle? What does it look like? What are you doing today that is not taking you towards that person you want to be tomorrow? And what are you going to do about it? What can you do right now to change that? Step 3, you need to set very clear goals. This is so important. So based on that gap, that where you're at right now and where you want to go, see what you need to do and start creating goals. Again, make sure these are SMART goals. Now, I talk a little bit about this on my goal setting webinar. It's a free webinar that if you haven't had the chance to go through yet, you can. I'll leave the links somewhere in the description. And you can, it's a free thing. There's a workbook. It's going to help you out to figure out if your goals are aligned with your values and what steps you need to take. And we talk a little bit about SMART goals. So make sure they are SMART goals. And that is only going to ensure that you have a say on the outcome of these goals, right? Because they are specific, they are measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound, okay? Now here, the most important thing is that you don't confuse or mistake goals with things on your to-do list. A goal is not something that you are going to put on your to-do list and you are going to achieve it, like it's a step. No, a goal has a lot of steps. So you need to break it down, because otherwise it's just going to be so overwhelming that you'll feel lost. So what can that look like? So for example, if your goal is to create a budget, you can't just put on your to-do list create a budget, because there's a lot of things that go into creating a budget, especially if you've never created one before, right? So instead you'll write create a budget, and then what do you need to do? Well, the first thing you need to do is know how much money you make. If you have only one source of income, that will be easy enough to track. And then the next step is track your expenses. What are the expenses you have every single month? Now, this might take you 1 hour, 1 day, or 1 week. It's going to take as long as you need to go everywhere and look at your bank account, because if you have only one bank account that you run all your expenses through, it's one thing. But if you have two or three, or a different card that you pay your expenses with, then you need to go and track those things out, right? So it's going to take a little bit. And if you put it on your to-do list and you can do it like in one go, you are going to figure out it's too hard. You're going to think it's, you just get overwhelmed. So we don't want that. So just create a plan of how you're going to set up your budget. And then, it's the same thing. If you need to pay off debt, well, if you only have one credit card that you owe, or your car, it might be easier enough. But if you have 3 or 4 credit cards, you have your car, you have a personal loan, it's going to take time. You have to figure out interest rates, you have to figure out how much you're paying, how much you owe on the whole thing. So it's going to take time, and it's okay. So don't expect that creating a budget is going to take you 5 minutes and you're done. So this is like a goal, a project that you are breaking down that will help you get to the budget. And we want to do it correctly. We want to be as honest as possible. We're not going to just, guesstimate it. No, we're going to do things the way they should be done, because the person we want to be tomorrow depends on it, depends on how honest we are with ourselves, and how well or how serious we are taking this, I want to say transformation, but this, it's like a journey. So be mindful of that, and be sure to do things in order so that you don't feel overwhelmed. And yes, it's not going to take 1 hour, it's going to take a week. It's okay. I mean, you're not going to be working on it all day, every single day, but maybe you can spend half an hour on it every day until it's done. But when it's done, it will be well done, and you can move on to the next thing, the next step, or the next goal. Hope that makes sense. Now, when you are going through this step, setting the goals and breaking them down into steps, what I found when I had to go through this, and even now, depending, if it's a financial thing, if it's a relationship thing, I I find that when it becomes very hard for me, when I can't move forward, I have to go through a grieving process. And this means that I initially will be angry, because, if we're talking about finances, and very honestly, that's how I dealt with it. I would be very angry because it's my fault that I'm in this situation. It was my fault that I was in such a bad financial situation, and I couldn't blame anyone. And sometimes I'm angry because I blame other people, until I realize that actually I have to assume my responsibility in the whole situation as well. So, yeah, that happens to me sometimes. I do need to be responsible for my actions. So I start with angry, and then I go through bargaining with myself. Well, if I do this, or if I do that, if I could, and then I just get depressed, because I feel like there's no way out, no matter how much strategizing is going on in my head. And then there's acceptance, and then I can move forward and start taking action. Now, this is a process that can take me anywhere from 30 minutes to 1 week or 2 weeks. And for you, if you have these feelings of guilt, of anxiety, maybe you need to journal about it. Maybe you need to talk to someone about it. For me, it all happens in my head. So I need to think about it. I need to reason with myself. I need to but I need to go through the process. I try to just, yeah, well, it is what it is and move forward. And I find that I lose a lot of time doing that because I always need to go back and go through those stages, through the grieving stages, until I'm okay to move on and until I'm okay to take steps. Because otherwise, I take the steps, but I'm always thinking about there's something lingering there and it's not helping me. So I need to go and deal with that and then move on. That's how it is for me. For you, it might be completely different. And there's no right or wrong here. You just have to figure out what for you works best, how you need to deal with that, and figure out how to move forward. Next step, you're going to create or develop a plan of action. So, what are your next steps going to be? So, you've broken down all those goals, and now it's time to start prioritizing them. See what you need or what you can, because sometimes it's not what you need, but what you can do right now to start moving forward. And again, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. So it's going to take the time it's going to take. It's just that as long as you are consistently taking action, you are going in the right direction, and don't lose sight of that. Again, this can be a small step. For example, you want to start organizing your finances. It might be as simple as starting tracking what you spend every single day. Just get a little notebook or even on your phone, and you just write every single day what you spent so that you can start tracking it and see where your money is going. It might be as simple as start reading a book on personal finance. It can be just watching a YouTube video on personal finance, on budgeting, on mindset. It doesn't have to be huge. You just need to start somewhere, and what you can do right now. So let's say you don't have a lot of time, you cannot start, like looking for your papers to start your budget. But hey, you have a commute, you can listen to a podcast on personal finance or on budgeting. There's a lot of them out there. Or you can read something on the train, whatever it looks like. But just get started, because action is going to inspire you. It's not the other way around. So be sure to start with something. For example, if you want to become a dancer, well, you need dance lessons. But guess what? Maybe you don't have the time today, or until the end of the week, because the weekend it's when you have more time to do it. So you can start researching schools, you can start researching other dancers, you can start seeing what's happening in the scene and get yourself excited about what's to come. Okay, step number 6, build new habits. Okay, you cannot expect a different result from doing the same thing. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. It's not going to happen. You either want it or you don't, and you are very comfortable where you are, so you stay there. But if you want to become that person that you said you wanted to become, something's got to change. Okay, so let's say you want to become a writer. Well, you have to start writing, and you have to be disciplined about it. You have to say, okay, I'm going to write 1,000 words every day. And you sit down and you do not get up until you write those 1,000 words. And yes, maybe you'll have to go to bed late because you have your kids to take care of, you have a lot of things to do, or maybe you need to get up earlier and do that. Or maybe you're just not going to socialize at lunchtime and you are going to sit by yourself eating your lunch and writing your 1,000 words. I didn't say it was going to be easy. I'm just saying something's got to give. And we all have time. Instead of scrolling through social media, we can decide to spend those 10 minutes or an hour doing something that is going to bring us closer to the person we want to become. Okay, and step number 7, track your results. Now, if you don't know where you are, and if you don't track what you're doing to achieve another level, you never know where you are. If you don't track it, you don't know if you're making progress or not. So be sure to be very intentional about monitoring your progress, because that way you can adjust your plans as needed. Because sometimes we start with a goal and we realize halfway that actually that was the start, but this goal needs to change for us to go towards that dream or that person we want to be. Adjust accordingly. It's fine. It's not set in stone, and it's your life. You decide. Now, another important thing is celebrate small victories to stay motivated and maintain momentum. This is so important in everything we do in life. When we get rewards, we are more stimulated, we are more excited, and it's easier to stay on track. So be sure to celebrate those wins. Be sure to pat yourself on the back. Be sure to be very proud of yourself, because you could dream about wanting that life and do nothing about it, or just blame society, blame your crappy job, blame your lack of time. But no, you are getting up and taking small steps, but you are doing it. So be very proud of yourself. Well, I hope this video today helped you out and that it got you thinking. If you found it interesting, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. And I'll be back in the next video with more tips for you. Thank you so much for being here. Bye.